Okay, at this point, I don't think there's anything Pat McAfee can't do. This man had an impressive NFL career, has built a multi-million-dollar media empire, and now steals the show at WrestleMania. I was there in person at WrestleMania, and when I tell you this man was involved in some of the most electric moments of the whole weekend, I mean it. I mean, having Seven Nation Army as his theme song, having the entire crowd singing along with him to support him, just a wild thing to see in person. And how awesome for Pat, living out a lifelong dream of being in WWE, having a match, and then facing Mr. McMahon and being stunnered by Stone Cold. Just sounds like a fever dream. Pat is obviously just a born entertainer, so he was built for this, but it did get me wondering, which other NFL players could succeed in WWE? Because I'll be honest, when this man was punting footballs in Indianapolis, I would have never pictured this in his future. But there definitely are some guys in the NFL right now who look like they would be more obvious fits. With that said, here are 5 players in the NFL right now who I believe would kill it in WWE. Honorable mention goes to Rob Gronkowski, who has already done it. He made an appearance at WrestleMania in 2017 and has actually been a champion, winning the 24/7 championship a couple years ago. And a couple more honorable mentions to D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. D'Angelo Williams actually had a great match, not in WWE, but in TNA, another wrestling promotion. And Gary Barnage was by his side. Both of those guys are huge wrestling fans, so I would be remiss to not mention them at least somewhere on this list. But now, let's get into the current NFL players who I think would fit as professional wrestlers. First up, we've got Jordan Davis, and I know he's not technically in the NFL yet, just give it a couple weeks, but I think he would be a great fit just from a size and skill standpoint. Davis is actually only 6'6", which would not make him one of the tallest people in WWE, but at 360 pounds, definitely one of the most unique size profiles of anyone there. Now, if you're a WWE fan, I'm sure you know a lot of the big guys that they recruit can't exactly move that well. Jordan Davis, not a problem for him.
Yeah, that's a big man moving.
It is.
That is a big man moving.
This dude ran a 4.78 40-yard dash. He would instantly be one of the most agile big men WWE has ever seen. We're used to guys like Big Show and Big Daddy V and Rikishi who, feet kind of look like they're stuck in cement most of the time. Davis would bring a totally different dynamic to WWE with his size and speed, and I can't imagine anybody would want to face this man. Next up, Aaron Donald. Donald has long been considered the freakiest athlete in the entire NFL, and yeah, that would fit pretty well in WWE. We're talking about another guy who is pushing 300 pounds, but still somehow has abs and also practices with knives. I feel like this is basically a smaller version of Jordan Davis for WWE purposes, that is, where he's gonna have this crazy size, but he's also gonna be a lot more athletic than a guy like Jordan Davis would be. Like, Donald is the kind of guy where with the right training, I could see him jumping off the top rope in WWE, whereas Jordan Davis, if he did that, would probably collapse the ring. But yeah, there's always a place for big time freak genetic monsters like Aaron Donald in WWE, and I just think he'd be a great fit. The only concern I have is that by all accounts, he's a pretty quiet guy, and in WWE, it definitely helps to have that larger than life personality, or at least just something marketable for the fans to attach themselves to, outside of just, I'm a super athletic beast of a human being. Switching gears a little bit here, coming in at number 3 on my list, I've got Baker Mayfield. The most successful people in WWE have a combination of in-ring skill, like actual wrestling skill, and promo work, where they have to have, like I said, a big personality and basically acting skills. The ability to make a crowd feel strongly about you one way or the other, whether they love you or they hate you. I have a strong feeling that Baker Mayfield could make a crowd hate him in about 2 seconds. He's already got a personality that rubs a lot of people the wrong way in the NFL, and all he would have to do is turn that up to 11 in WWE, and you've got yourself an A1 bad guy. And listen, we already know he's comfortable in front of a camera and has acting chops, because no matter what you feel about the guy, I don't care. His commercials, they're funny. The commercials where he lives in a stadium and just pretends like it's his normal home, I get a laugh out of those every time. Also, when he tries to sell his teammates gear in a yard sale.
These my shoulder pads?
They could be. Make me an offer.
He's just got a great personality for this kind of thing. Now, obviously, he's not going to be as athletic as a guy like Aaron Donald, but I think he's got enough athleticism to make it work. And yeah, Baker Mayfield's just a natural heel. The next guy on this list I actually put on here for some similar reasons. He actually plays the same position and is in the same division for now as Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not shy. He's not afraid of the spotlight. He loves the big moment. He pulls up to games in some of the cleanest outfits you will ever see. And those slow-mo videos of him smoking cigars after big wins, those are like prototypical video package material for WWE. He knows how to play to the camera. He's got a pretty big personality. And one thing about Joe Burrow that I think would actually work a little better in WWE as opposed to a guy like Baker Mayfield is I feel like Joe Burrow could easily make you love him or hate him. Baker Mayfield, I feel like people are going to default to hate, right? He's just got that look to him. But Joe Burrow, I think, is a really likable guy on the surface. And a lot of the time in WWE, what they'll do when they bring in somebody new, especially somebody with a lot of hype like an NFL quarterback, they'll bring them in as a good guy. They know people are going to be excited. They're going to be hyped about them joining WWE, but then they'll slowly transition that person into being a bad guy if that's what they're more suited to do. And I feel like Joe Burrow is just perfectly suited to do that. He could come in as a good guy for the first like month or two and then transition into this cocky, smarmy, just frat guy personality. And finally, this one should be pretty obvious. Number one on the list for NFL players who would fit into WWE the best, George Kittle. George Kittle is an unashamed WWE superfan. Not only was he at WrestleMania this past weekend, he has been to many WWE events in the past. He's worn WWE cleats. He fanboyed when he met Stone Cold Steve Austin on First Take.
Are you kidding me right now?
This man is just as big of a fan as it gets. He's got a huge personality, which, like I said, is super important. And I feel like his playstyle is like exactly the playstyle you would see of somebody destined for WWE. He's got a combo of power, speed, flashiness. He's just the total package. Like I said before, the most successful people in WWE have two things: big personalities and characters that they can work with and make people care about them, and athleticism and in-ring skill. Kittle has athleticism and personality in droves. I actually would go as far as to say I would be surprised if George Kittle does not have a WWE match at some point. One of the best players in the NFL, a huge fan, it just makes too much sense. But that's my list. Let me know if I missed anybody and who you guys think would be the best fits in WWE from the NFL. One guy I did think about was Antonio Brown because his personality is crazy and he's a pretty athletic dude as well. My main concern is I don't think WWE would be able to wrangle him and tell him what to do. And the last thing we need is this man like ripping his shirt off and running away in the middle of a match at WrestleMania. But that'll do it for me. I'm out. See you guys next time.